How's it going, YouTube? I am the Shaz back again with another instant analysis, this time without the chat, without Twitch chat, because I just got home from work and unfortunately it's a little too late for me to stream. But I did want to talk about the brand new FES cards that were announced last night. Rina and Ruby. Now, really quickly, I do want to just kind of touch on the SRs. Um, a song for you, Nico. Um, Decent stats: 73, 17 base appeal, 87, 82 base tech. Is a gauge filler, but again, it's an SR, so the gauge fill is not terribly large, and she does give in a gauge fill um, equal to 4% of her technique at the start of a live. And then we also have Yu Pana. I forgot to mention Nico is a smile attribute, SP type. Pana is an elegant attribute, SK type. Um, but skewed more towards scoring, 87, 82 base appeal, and 79, 45 base technique, which means unfortunately she doesn't get a crit profile. Not that it matters that much, but you know, there are some times where you care about that for SRs. Has a voltage gain tap active, 5.2% for 5 notes for other elegant attribute cards. Uh, Technique up just for herself, which is not really that great. And then a first 10 times she crits, add 10% of her technique to her voltage. This is obviously not that great because even though she has a technique buffing passive, her technique is not her highest stat. So, yeah, not fantastic. Anyway, let's get to the URs on the banner. First, let's start with Ruby, third FES Ruby. An elegant attribute SK type. At max limit break, 13,525 base appeal, 6936 base stamina, and 14,218 base technique. This leaves her with a roughly 58% crit rate at max limit break, and without including any bond level or bond board bonuses. Uh, Ruby's tap active is a standard activating chance increase voltage gain by 4 crit notes by a maximum of 20% for the next 5 notes. It applies to every card in her strategy. Passive is pretty good. Base technique and appeal increases. However, it's the opposite way from which you would want it to be. For this, it's actually the technique that gets a 7% increase, and appeal only gets a 3.5% increase for cards in her strategy. And finally, her LSA, which should look familiar to most of you because this is second FES Maki's LSA. When the live starts, raise the tap voltage limit for crit notes by 15% just for herself. Really quickly, I did talk about the kind of second FES Maki comparison, and the cards themselves are pretty close stat-wise, but there are a couple of differences when it comes to their kits. Maki, 13,922 and 14,252. Ruby, about 400 appeal less at 13,525, and tech, 14,218. So they're basically even in tech, with Ruby having about 400 less appeal. Big difference though is in the tap actives. Not only does Maki give you a 15% voltage gain for your crit notes for the next 5 notes, but she also buffs your crit rate. So the hybrid skill kind of works hand in hand in pushing your scores that much higher. Ruby, on the other hand, only buffs the voltage gain for crit notes. So for her to be at her best, you already need to have cards that crit very, very well. Um, and in the elegant attribute, that's actually not that hard. Second big difference, Maki's passive is a 7% appeal buff to her strategy, whereas again, Ruby's is a tech up of 7% and appeal up 3.5% for her strategy. But, it could be argued that Ruby, with the 7% technique buff to her strategy and all those additional, if you have Ruby paired with other crit profile cards, this is just going to make them not only crit more, but crit harder. And to boil down Third Fest Ruby, to kind of her simplest terms, she is basically the elegant attribute equivalent to Second Fest Maki. And this card excels in Advance Plus and Challenge difficulty songs. These cards are not for advanced beat map stuff. This is for your Snow Halation Plus that's coming in the channels, School Idol channels this week. It's for your Anata Riso no Heroine Plus. It's for your Diamond Plus. All of these, Thrilling One Way, Advanced Plus coming, Advanced Voltage Ranking coming up in August. This Ruby is going to slaughter all of it. Pair her with a Third Fest Kasumi. Holy smokes. It's a lot of voltage that you're going to be able to pump out on all those songs. But again, this Ruby card is very, very Advanced Plus and Challenge focused. So, if you're wondering whether you need to pull on this card or not, I have to ask you a question. Is your card pool more skewed towards advanced beat map kind of voltage competitions in like SBL and July's item exchange voltage ranking competition, or is it skewed more towards Advanced Plus? Because there are two separate metas, right? And you need different cards to compete in both. And if you're able to compete in both, you've probably spent tens of thousands of dollars on this game. And those people you can count on your hand that are able to compete in both Advanced and Advanced Plus. Yeah. Definitely, if you're an Advanced Plus voltage ranker, this is a must-have card. If your card pool is more skewed towards Advanced and, SP gauge cycling and stuff like that, this card is, and you're saving for gems, right? A lot of people are saving for gems. This banner, well, this one half of the banner, makes it skippable. Also, I do want to note, Ruby is watching Natsuhiro Egao de Want to Jump down here on the laptop and copying Umi's pose, while also having a variation of Umi's Dancing Stars on Me costume. And here we thought Ruby was a Pana Oshi this entire time. Anyway, second UR of the banner is Third Fest Rina, an active attribute voltage type. At max limit break, 14,912 base appeal and 13,872 base technique. 41% crit rate. On a voltage card, this is massive. On a voltage type card, this 41% crit rate is massive. Now, this doesn't include all your bond level and bond board bonuses. This number jumps up, 45, 47%. So nearly every other tap she's gonna crit. Like with a lot of these our other favorite active attribute voltage type cards, she has a voltage boost ability, right? Add 42% of this card's appeal to voltage whenever the tap skill goes off. Passive and live show active are kind of weird. Passive is a base appeal increase of 5.2% and a base technique increase of 2.6% to only other Niji cards. And that trend continues with her live show active, which gives other Niji cards a 2% base appeal increase every time you start the live. I'm gonna say this right now. This passive and live show active is kind of could easily be better, but this is a way to balance out the card, because this card is basically a slightly better version than Cadin, than Second Fest Cadin. As you can see right here, Second Fest Cadin beats out Third Fest Rina's base appeal by only 4. And beats out Rina's technique by only 50. So when you combine, right, Canon only has a base appeal increase for same attribute cards, where Rina has a base appeal increase plus a base technique increase, and her live show active is already better than Cadin's. That means that technically, Third Fest Rina is a much, much stronger card than Cadin. And much like Ruby, this Rina is meant to absolutely crush certain Advance Plus and Challenge songs. Now, I say certain because there are still instances where this Rina doesn't even get run. In something like Niji Ito Passions or Zensoku Dreamer, Koi ni Naritai Aquarium Challenge, right? Where you're trying to run voltage cards, or you're trying to stay away from voltage cards, run SK type cards, and be very, very specific with your team builds, which unfortunately a lot of the active attribute Advance Plus and Challenge songs are. This Rina doesn't get run. And while it is really, really good for that new Neo Sky Neo map challenge song that just came out, it's not something that I'm tripping over myself to scout for. Much like how I didn't, trip over myself to scout for Second Fest Cadin, I'm not a Rina Oshi, I'm not a Ruby Oshi. I'm gonna pass this banner because my card pool, unfortunately, isn't suited for Advance Plus. So, my suggestion to all of you, and you should do this with every banner, look at the cards and think to yourself, are these cards meant more for Advanced or Advanced Plus and Challenge? Then, go back to your card pool and look to see, okay, where's my card pool stand? Do I have a better shot at competing on Advanced Voltage rankings or Advanced Plus or Challenge Voltage rankings? And then, use that as kind of your tiebreaker as far as whether you should scout or not. Now, some of you are going to scout either way. For some reason, in my Discord, I have a lot of people who Oshi Ruby as their Aqua Girl and Rina as their Niji Girl. Go figure. So you can only guess what my Discord looked like when this news came out that the banner was Rina Ruby. I thought the server was going to explode. Everybody was losing their ever-living minds. Me, on the other hand, while I can see the value in both this Rina card and this Ruby card, I just can't scout for it right now. I would love to, right? I'd love to have more cards that will be useful to me, but right now, I just can't do it. And yeah, that'll be it for this instant analysis. Thank you so much for watching. Come and join me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/IamTheShaz. I've been really, really enjoying playing Hollow Cure. So I'm probably going to play that when SBL is not on. If you need help building SBL teams later on in the week, feel free to hop in and I will give you my suggestions, you know, as much as I can based on your card pool. Until next time, see you later. Bye.